Let's go to Shauna in Texas. Welcome to the Line of Fire.
Hi, how's it going?
Going well. Thank you, Shauna.
So I can give you a little background on me. I left the LGBTQ community recently. I was a lesbian, and now I'm just a celibate Christian. I left a 15-year relationship, actually. But anyways, so my experience as a
Shauna,
child
do you mind if I just ask you a question first? Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah.
I know this may be getting ahead of things, but was there anything in particular that caused you to make this break after 15 years?
About 3, and this was recent, like 2 months ago where I left it, but about 3 years ago, I guess, I felt compelled. I prayed a lot. I basically told God, like, I can't make this decision on my own. Like, I personally don't know what the right thing to do is. So I need you to kind of pull me out of it if it's not the right thing. And that's basically what he did. He pulled me out. He didn't give me the option of staying. And I knew it was an answered prayer. After that, I was really severely depressed. Obviously, it was a 15-year relationship, so I was upset, suicidal. And I prayed for God to take that away, and he did. He took it away. You know, I didn't go on pills or anything like that to take it away. He just continuously has been answering my prayers. You know, I joined a church, getting counseling, stuff like that. But, you know, as a child, I also was compelled by God, as a very young child, that, and I don't want to sound crazy, but I felt I was going to see the end times as an adult. Like, I always felt like I'm not going to get old. I'm going to see the end times. Don't ask me why I felt like that, but I just did.
Well, you're one of many, Shauna. It's not that odd.
Yeah.
You read the Bible, you hear about prophecies, and you have that deep feeling. Yeah, understandable. Yeah, go ahead.
And when I was praying for God to pull me out, if it's the right thing to do, that was another thing that was on my heart. He was telling me about 3 years ago, it's coming soon. You need to, I'm giving you this warning. And then now he's like telling me everything is very urgent. I need to tell people about this, and I need to encourage people to tell the truth. And I was in the live chat talking about this earlier. Tell the truth in love. So in other words, if you're going out to protest a pride parade, that's probably not going to work, because a lot of times it's just you yelling at them and they're not going to hear you. They're going to get defensive and block it out.
Yep.
You have to be kind to people and befriend them and tell them.
Hey, Shauna, stay right there. We've got a break. Stay right there. Please don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you on the other side of the break. What you're saying needs to be heard, and I got a bunch of questions to ask as well. Friends, we'll be right back. I'm speaking with Shauna from Texas. As a child, felt that the Lord showed her that she wouldn't grow old, that she would live to see the return of Jesus, the end times. She ended up in a lesbian lifestyle, lesbian relationship for a 15-year period. As she really sought the Lord about 3 years ago, asking if she was doing the wrong thing, that God would deal with her, that he has now brought her out of that relationship. Several months ago, she broke it off, struggling with depression. After that, God helped her without need for pills. She's now in a church getting counsel moving forward, and feels an urgency to tell the church we've got to speak the truth in love. Shauna, thanks so much for calling and feeling the urgency to tell your story. And obviously the biggest thing is just getting your own feet down strongly in the Lord, being in a church, getting that counsel, just growing one step at a time. Not that you have to put on some performance or show or anything or be on display. Just a matter of, okay, God brought me out. Now he's moving me forward. Did you feel the whole time that you were in this relationship that you were a Christian?
Well, I believe I got saved when I was a teenager and I was baptized. But I kind of just fell away.
Okay.
And I sort of, as time went on, I was sort of like trying to be an atheist.
Got it.
But in all honesty, I felt deep down inside that God was truly telling me, like, look, I gave you this ability, this foresight to understand that you're going to see the end time, and I'm not going to let you fully go. Like, the Bible prophecy part was keeping me sort of connected to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what he's telling me now is, or he's putting it on my heart, is essentially that we don't have much time left. And so, you know, if you have loved ones who are LGBT, you know, you have to approach the situation, but only do it in love. Like, there's people that will literally kick their kids out of their house,
right,
and
terrible,
yell at them and are hateful. I mean, it's literally like, why would you want to join anyone that behaves that way?
Right. Absolutely.
And so, you know, that's something I feel called to help people with.
And Shauna, when did you first feel that you were attracted to the same sex?
Oh, since I was a little child.
Right.
The way I describe it to people is, you know, a lot of people who aren't gay or aren't same-sex attracted, a lot of them will say, you choose to be gay, right? I did not choose to be gay.
Mm-hmm.
I prayed so long as a child to take it away from me, and it never went away. I think because we are in a fallen state, that it's very much possible that can be a natural process that you get to. It's just a matter of realizing that it is wrong, and you have to go against your own nature in a way.
Right.
And I do believe that God can give you attraction to the opposite sex and heal you, but not everyone is going to have that happen. Some people are just going to have to live a celibate life, which is really hard, and it's a lot to ask of a person. And that's another reason why you need to approach the situation in love, because you're telling that person who can't become straight, you need to be alone the rest of your life. You know, you have to be compassionate when you approach the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So here, you're saying what so many others, the vast majority of those who identify as gay and lesbian would say is, as far back as I can remember, this is how I felt.
Yep.
Or my earliest romantic or sexual feelings, or I always felt different, etc.
Yep.
You know, one of the most outspoken advocates of, quote, gay Christianity, Dr. Mel White, has always told his story. Well, you know, in the high school football games, while my friends were attracted to the cheerleaders, I was attracted to the quarterback. And so obviously that, you know, and then as a Christian, you think, how can this be? And you cry out and you pray. One pastor friend of mine said, look, every kid who identifies as gay or lesbian and was raised in a Christian home, and as a teenager, that kid's had an unanswered prayer, because you're all going to pray the same way. God, take this away, change me. And then when he doesn't, you either think he's not there, or he must hate me, or maybe I'm reading the Bible wrong. Maybe this is really okay, and go through these various situations. But obviously in your case, God kept working in your life, and you're absolutely right. Can friends, please hear what Sean is saying. You're telling me you're going to share the gospel with an 18-year-old guy, and all he's ever known is same-sex attraction, as long as he's been conscious of his feelings. And you can tell him now he's got to follow Jesus, which either means he has to become heterosexual, which to him is an utter impossibility and almost repulsive, or stay single the rest of his life, never have a romantic relationship, let alone not have sex, but never have a romantic relationship the rest of his life, and just take it on the chin, man. That's the truth. That's the good news. Obviously, what we have to say is we've all sinned. We all have to come saying, God, I've sinned and blown it. Forgive me, and I give my whole life to you, whatever that means. And Jesus, you've got to be enough for me. I mean, that's where you have to start. And yes, you're right. Many do change. I know many who have genuinely gone from homosexual to heterosexual, others who've had a massive diminishing in homosexual attraction and like a faint heterosexual attraction enough to grow into a relationship with someone of the opposite sex, and others who say, hey, I'm same-sex attracted, but I say no to it. It's not of God. It's not right. I say no to it, and God's more than enough. But Sean, if you could say anything else, let's say to a parent right now, and their 14-year-old daughter comes out and says, Mom, Dad, I'm a lesbian. I just want you to know this. What should they do? If let's say it's Christian home, what do they do? How do they respond?
Well, I had a few responses, so I can give you some examples of what not to do and some that you should do. One, I had someone tell me, oh, you're going to burn in hell now. Like, basically, you're just going to burn in hell. Like, that is not, like, if someone came to you and said, you know, I'm really struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts, which is, you know, horrible. If you approach them and was like, oh, you're going to go to hell if you do that, like, that's not really the right response.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing, if you don't understand it, you need to research it. Please research it. You know, I think there's a book called Gay Girl, Good God, or something like that. And the author, I can't remember her name, but she's really good. If you have this situation, please get educated and on it before you attack and say, hey, you're going to burn in hell. Like, everyone is without God. Like, you know, don't kick them out. Don't turn your back on them. Don't act differently towards them. Don't act like they have some kind of disease, because I had people do that to me as well, and it was pretty horrible. In fact, the people who reacted poorly to me are still not really in my life, because they made me feel so horribly about myself that I feel uncomfortable around them now. Now I forgive them, but they're just not present in my life anymore.
Yeah.
The people who stood by me, they said, look, I don't agree with it, and I think it's a sin, and you know how I feel about it, but I love you. I'll never turn my back on you. I'm always here for you, whatever you need. Essentially, you don't get to decide if someone gets saved or not. You can only tell them the truth, you know, and if they reject the truth. But the thing is, if you at some point down the line as a gay person are like, I wonder if I'm really right or I'm really wrong, and you remember how your relative treated you that was doing the right thing, you will go back to that person.
Yeah.
You know, I did the same thing. The way I was treated in a good way, I went back to those people and I remember how they treated me, and and they encouraged me and they're there for me. And that's another thing with the church. You know, when someone like me comes into the church, they need connections, because they're going to lose not only the people they were in a relationship with, but a lot of their friends, because a lot of their friends are LGBT.
Yep.
They need connections. So it's really important for people who just go to church on Sunday, sit in the pew, and then go home. They need to reach out and make connections, invite them over, befriend them, go to events together, because, again, a lot of these people are alone and they need that.
Mm. Well, I'm just sitting here thrilled, thinking it's as if you've been ministering in this way for decades. I mean, the wisdom in what you're saying, the importance of what you're saying. I heard from a friend of a friend. This was a couple that the man and his wife had both come out of homosexuality, and now they were happily married, and they were ministering to gays in New York. And they said that they heard more than once from someone who came out of homosexuality, got saved, was going to church, and then fell away, and said, I had more fellowship in the gay bar than I did sitting in a church building looking at the back of somebody's head in a church service. So building relationships, and for parents, that's your kid. It's still your kid. And parents, when think of how difficult it is for your kid to come out and say what they say. And they're not telling you, I hate God. I'm going to be a champion of rebellion. I hate you. They're just telling you this is going on in my life, and you need to know. And the last thing they need is rejection, hatred, condemnation. And parents, trust me, they know how you feel. They know your beliefs. Yep. You tell them once, just like Shauna said, you know how we feel. You know, we believe that to act on this is sinful, but you're a child. You're a friend. I was in Singapore, Shauna, with maybe 5,000 or 6,000 folks at a big meeting, and we're having a young people session. And I said, okay, so your best friend, you're 15-year-old guys, and your best friend says, hey, I got to tell you something really heavy. I mean, it's really heavy. You sit down together, you're Christian kids, and the kid says, I'm gay. How do you respond? I said, the response is, I thought you had something heavy to tell me. You're my friend. Let's diffuse the whole thing. All right, you struggle with same-sex attraction. Okay, you're my friend. You want to serve the Lord? All right, let's be friends. Let's work on this together. And yes, get educated. Please get educated. Shauna, I'm so glad you took the time to call and share this.
I have one more comment on the trans side of it.
Yep, go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, but as someone who was very much a tomboy growing up in a generation where I didn't even know transgender existed. I can almost guarantee you, if I had seen the enormous amount of YouTube videos about becoming transgender, I would have probably considered it because I was such a tomboy. I love to play with the boys. I'm 100% a woman. Like, I'm not confused about my gender at all. But I can almost guarantee you I would have at least questioned it back, if it had been this way. There's a lot of tomboys and a lot of lesbian, like butch women who are becoming transgender because they feel like that's what they are because of stereotypical
right, and it's out there so much, Shauna. It's an epidemic of this, and I've heard the exact same thing from heterosexual women and from those who are lesbians saying, if this had been in my day, I would have said I'm trans. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, click on one of the boxes on the screen, check out another one of our videos, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. You know, we discovered that about 60% of you that are watching our videos aren't subscribers. So subscribe today. Doesn't cost you a dime. And if you want to support our work, Line of Fire, and all the things that we do, follow one of the links on the screen below.